If you've been learning leadership for a while, you may find it challenging. There are so many moving parts just to be an effective leader. Leadership comes from understanding deeply how all those moving parts work. When you finally do understand them, you achieve simplicity. And simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Then when you think you finally understand leadership, the next challenge is applying it consistently, day after day, with real people in dynamic situations. Let me say this. Leadership is simple, but not easy. If you have ever led a team, even a small one of less than 10 people, this may sound familiar. You attend leadership programs, read books, and listen to talks and podcasts. You hear words like vision, influence, engagement, empowerment, motivation, collaboration, feedback, coaching, and having more one-to-one conversations. Sounds logical and pretty straightforward. Then you try to apply what you have learned back at work, and suddenly leadership feels messy, unclear. You become uncertain when dealing with leadership situations. People are not machines. They don't respond to the way you expect them to. You may plan a conversation carefully in your head, but at any point it can go in a different direction. Later, you replay that conversation in your mind, thinking about what you should have said versus what you actually did say. You start to wonder why leadership in practice is so different from the theories, and why it seems like everyone else has figured it out except you. So what do most leaders do at this point? They start to do more. Rules, meetings, explanations, reminders, pressure on the team and on themselves. Then leadership will finally work the way they expect to. But honestly, how long can you last? A year? 2 years? The rest of your career? Over time, it becomes exhausting. And then quietly, many leaders start to doubt themselves. They copy styles, techniques, and strategies that seem to work for others without truly understand why they work. Or worse, they conclude a self-belief that leadership just isn't for them. Here's the truth. You don't struggle because leadership is too simple or too complex. You struggle because you don't understand cause and effect. If you want engagement and motivation and performance from your team, then you need to understand what actually causes those outcomes. That is what you should be focusing on if you want to lead well. Leadership is built on simple ideas: clarity of direction, trust in people, consistency of behavior, accountability for work outcomes. None of these on their own are difficult to understand, but they're difficult to practice in reality. When you're tired, under pressure, managing competing priorities, and dealing with people who don't think or act like you. It's also simple to say that leaders should communicate more or clearly, but it's not easy. When you're busy, feel rushed, and frustrated that your message wasn't received the way you intended. It's simple to say leaders should lead by example. But what are those specific examples that you want to lead with? Can you imagine your boss telling you that they're taking a day off work from leading, even though they're at work? Of course not. And that's the challenge. Leadership demands consistency every day, and there's no break. This is an uncomfortable truth for many leaders. Many problems with a leader are typically not so much their lack of knowledge. After all, a leader should be trained on how to lead. The real problem is their behavior. You see, most leaders already know what they should be doing. Listening more, setting clear expectations, having difficult conversations earlier, following through on what they say. Leadership rarely breaks down in one dramatic showdown. It breaks down in small, everyday moments. The conversation you keep delaying, the decision you make without listening to inputs from others, the silence from you when something should have been addressed. Leadership problems isn't about technical frameworks or models. It is more likely about how you, as the leader, consistently behave day after day. If leadership feels complex to you, and this video is helping you see it more clearly, consider liking and subscribing to this channel. It helps me shape future content for leaders like you. Here's something that many leaders don't expect. The higher you climb in management, the simpler your leadership must become. You see, when you move from leading a small team of less than 10 to leading multiple teams in a department where you have 20, 30 or more team members, you can't rely on your personal oversight alone. You have to rely on clarity and shared understanding with team members while they manage processes. Many leaders, when they scale from leading a team to leading a department, try to manage organizational complexity with leadership complexity. Big words, fancy frameworks, long explanations. But your leadership can only really scale when your message is simple enough to travel through that same organizational complexity without you being there to explain it. If your leadership requires consistent clarification from you and you alone, it is not simple enough. And if people can't act without you, then you really don't have leadership. Instead, you have dependencies and you can't be everywhere at once. Since 2018, I've interviewed over 250 leaders, small businesses to multinational corporations, frontline leaders to executive chairpersons, blue to white collar. And since 2021, I've worked with over 1,000 team leaders and heads of departments across industries and management levels. The same pattern shows up. First, leadership is simple when you're clear about what leadership is responsible for. Leadership isn't about you personally fixing everything or having all the answers. It is about you setting direction, clarifying expectations, having the right conversations, and holding people, including yourself, accountable. Your job is not to do the work of the team. Your job is to lead them to their success. Second, what you say, don't say, do and don't do, it matters. I'm not referring to casual pantry conversations. I'm talking about what you say and follow through in one-to-one conversations and team meetings. I once spoke to a new team leader who shared an exciting vision with his team. Weeks later, nothing happened. He might have come up with the vision, but he did not follow through on working with the team on action plans, delegation, involvement, and follow-up. People don't follow what you said once. They follow what you consistently reinforce. Your reactions and responses, your silence, constantly signal what truly matters to you and for them. Third, the higher you go, the simpler your leadership must become. Leading yourself as a team member is different from leading a team of 5 team members as their team leader. And again, it's not the same when you are a head of department leading 5 team leaders, each with their own teams beneath them. As you move up, your leadership focus must change. Clarity over control, direction over details, processes over people. When you can offer that, then others can continue to be led by you, even when you are not there. Let's return to where we started. Leadership is simple, but not easy. It's simple because ultimately leadership is about bringing others to success. Then you will be successful as a leader. But it is not simple because it requires consistency, even when things are challenging. I've interviewed, spoken to, and worked with enough leaders from profit, non-profit, public and private sector to know this. When you bring people to their success, they have a reason to follow you. And when you make leadership simple for yourself, you make it easier for others to see you as a leader. That's what simple leadership is about. I make leadership simple for you. What is the hardest part about leadership for you right now? Leave a comment below.